Hi, my name is Candace Bay, and I'm one of this year's Civic Design Fellows. I hail from Chicago, Illinois, and I'm excited for you guys to see the programming that museums and other historical and cultural spaces have been putting together for you guys for this year. I think civic engagement needs to be rooted in community, and to me, community means people who live alongside us now, as well as those who came before us. When thinking about stories of the past, I think there's so much to learn about the challenges that we still face today. And while the issues of gender and race and citizenship may have looked different in the past, the lessons still resonate with the present. And that's what Civic Season is about. We connect you with the resources to learn about yesterday so we can work better to build together for our tomorrow. So I welcome all you curious people, and I'm excited to see all the things that we can learn together. Have fun.
Today, we are here for a very special reason. It is a unifying moment to celebrate the start of a period of discovery, reflection, and connection across the country. Because Civic Season is time to explore what you stand for. But as we collectively reckon with the state of the United States democracy, it might be overwhelming to know where or how to begin. So whether you're a defender, a connector, an amplifier, or a nurturer like me, there is something here for you today that can help you start where you are.
As we get the day started, we have a couple of introductions from some of our hosts and special guests to welcome you to the Civic Season Kickoff Party. And of course, we want to thank those who made the Civic Season possible. Our hosts here at the Atlanta History Center and the supporters at the National Endowment for the Humanities, the Coca-Cola Company, and American Heritage Chocolate here with us today.
Hello, hello, hello. Oh, hi. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thanks to our hosts at the Atlanta History Center, for all the locals. They are your local hub for not only history, but democracy and its future. So be sure to check them out. If you don't know about Made by Us, you're going to be hearing that name today and in the future. This is a collective effort from the nation's history museums, historic sites, historical societies. There were now more than 150 places that are taking part in this effort to connect the next generation with the history they need to shape the future. It is led by a steering committee that includes the Atlanta History Center, the National Museum of American History, Thomas Jefferson Foundation at Monticello, the National Archives Foundation, the First Americans Museum, which is a brand new site that just opened in Oklahoma, the Senator John Heinz History Center, the Charles Wright Museum of African American History, History Miami Museum, Missouri Historical Society, and the New York Historical Society. So some very heavy hitters in the history space have decided it's really important to equip the next generation with the tools they need to sustain our democracy. These are credible institutions meeting curiosity as they come of age, as the next generation comes of age, not only to vote, but to work, pay taxes, serve, lead, all of the actions that make up who we are as a nation. So this is the Civic Season Kickoff. Civic Season is a brand new tradition. It began last year. So you're a very important part of shaping this. This is going to evolve and grow through the nation's 250th anniversary in 2026. And we're all here today in Atlanta, but there are sites celebrating the Civic Season Kickoff all across the country. And I did just want to acknowledge, in light, we're on this weekend here. It's a beautiful weekend. There's Pride celebrations. There were protests and marches across the country yesterday. We're also in a really tough chapter coming on the heels of devastating events. And when that happens, it can be so easy to say, this country. And you'll hear it all the time. This blank country, or this country blank, or this country blank, 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 and I am so blank, blank done. But my friends, we are this country. And the Civic Season is all about celebrating the ways that we step up. For all the talk about how democracies die, this is how it lives. Our neighbors, our friends, voters, citizens, new citizens, service members, volunteers, blood donors, teachers, There's so many ways that you can contribute. And if you're not sure yet how you fit into that big picture, you are in the right place, because the civic season is about discovering what you stand for, what you believe in, what role you will play. There are so many ways to get started. We have some of them here today. There's much more online at thecivicseason.com. So before we continue with our festivities, I wanted to say a few thank yous, and then I will pass the mic. First, thanks to Claire Haley and the Atlanta History Center staff, especially Mr. Gray, our facilities and maintenance and security staff for making this day possible. Thank you, of course, to all of our vendors, our speakers, our volunteers, our Civic Season Design Fellows spread across the country, and the Made by Us team, which includes Cameron Katz and Kate Doak Kessler, who are handling all the social media. They're amazing. Follow us online. Nia Mosby, who made this day possible. Everything you see, Nia has touched. Thank you, Nia. Yes, well done. We have some other folks, Valerie Donati, who's here, who's cultivated relationships with Airbnb and American Heritage Chocolate, who very early on got on board with Made by Us and everything that we're set out to do. Kaz Brescher, who's led the design of the whole Civic Season program. There are so many hands that have shaped this, and yours are a part of it. So finally, I'll thank our supporters, the National Endowment for the Humanities, the Coca-Cola Company, American Heritage Chocolate. If you haven't gone in the house yet, just hold your appetite, because there are so much chocolate to taste and so many neat ways to experience that history. We have Pizza to the Polls here, who has sent us free pizza. Thank you. And Airbnb, we're doing a neat partnership with them online. And without further ado, I will hand this over to Sheffield Hale, President and CEO of the Atlanta History Center.
Thank you, Caroline. Yes, I'm the President CEO of the blank blank Atlanta History Center. All right, welcome everybody to Atlanta History Center Midtown. We're very excited to have you here today. We are honored to host the Civic Season Kickoff today for this nationwide. We're doing it right here from the Midtown Atlanta. You know, Civic Season is a revolutionary idea. Connecting Juneteenth and the 4th of July reminds us of the complexity of American history and the ideals upon which we were founded, and the strides which we are still making toward trying to make those ideals true for everyone. Made by Us seeks to engage with younger Americans through initiatives such as this Civic Season. You'll hear a lot about young people being the inheritors of democracy. I'll tell you right now, young people, if they're activated and mobilized, are the movers and shakers of our democracy. Let's get them involved. Let's get them going. They will make for a better America. Historically, informed civic action benefits everyone, and it helps make our country better. The Atlanta History Center Civic Season, of course, kicks off today, but next week, on a week from today, on the lawn of the historic Swan House, made internationally famous by President Snow in the Hunger Games, there will be our Juneteenth celebration. So come there. Speaking of complexity, President Snow, the Hunger Games, and Juneteenth. It doesn't get more complex than that. Today's kickoff event would not be possible without, again, the National Endowment for Humanities, Coca-Cola Company, and American Heritage Chocolate. And also, hot off the press, the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation has made a grant Made by Us this week for 2 years that will undergird it and ensure that it exists in 2023 and 2024. We are very excited to have that ongoing support. I encourage everyone listening today to get involved, to meet somebody new, to get more actively engaged as community members. Democracy doesn't save itself. It requires all of us. Thank you so much, and let's get on with the party.
I don't know about y'all, but I'm ready to save democracy right now, because those speeches have got me pumped. Thank you so much to Caroline and Sheffield, and to everyone joining us here in Atlanta. Like we said before, Civic Season is not just here in Atlanta, it is a coast to coast affair. And right now we have two very special guests we want to highlight over on the video screen from DC and Salt Lake City.
Hello, and welcome to the Made by Us Civic Season Kickoff Party. To everyone in Atlanta, those attending Civic Season kickoff events in other cities, and those viewing the live stream at home, thank you for taking part. This event is so exciting because the Made by Us initiative, led by the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History, represents the power of collaboration and highlights the impact of knowing history. By joining forces, hundreds of history and civics organizations are working not just to inspire and inform the next generation of nation's leaders, but to engage and empower you. As the future inheritors of our democracy, our shared future is in your hands, just as it's been for every generation. Juneteenth is a reminder that history isn't static or predetermined. It's always taken a collective action of people to work to perfect our union and live up to the ideals of democracy. Everyone has a role to play, and your actions matter. Whether it's voting, volunteering, helping a neighbor, learning about our history, or talking honestly about where we are as a nation and how we got here. But it starts with knowing more about yourself, your community, and your country. The civic season can help you decide what matters most to you, with hundreds of activities and events available to explore by yourself or with others, whether you have 5 minutes or all day. I thank everyone who put this terrific event together. But it's not just a culmination of much work from all the participants. It's also just the beginning. As you gather today, it's important to acknowledge the many hands that have shaped the United States over nearly 250 years. To celebrate everyone's connection to the American story and to connect with and define what it means to be an American. Whether online or in person, thank you for participating in this valuable exploration of democracy and for helping shape a new tradition truly made by we the people. You will hear about many ways you can make your voice heard and to apply what you've learned to making a better nation. I encourage you to visit thecivicseason.com to get started. Our shared future is up to you.
Hello, I'm Utah Governor Spencer Cox. I'd like to invite you to play a history detective in June and July during Civic Season. Civic Season is a new initiative by more than 100 of the nation's leading history and civic institutions. The coalition's mission is to present history to young adults to inspire and inform civic participation in their communities. Throughout June and July, the Utah Division of State History and local community partners invite you to learn more about 9 historic days that honor our nation's rich and complex history. These include Indian Citizenship Act Day, Flag Day, Juneteenth, the 4th of July, Pioneer Day, and several more. Thinking historically means looking closely at the world and our place in it. It means exploring different perspectives and searching for clues to the past. Historians are a lot like detectives. They gather newly discovered documents, interview people who were there, and analyze historical evidence such as letters, photos, records, and journals. Historians analyze this evidence to see how the clues all fit together. When new evidence comes to light, they use it to update our understanding of the past. This detective work offers a deeper and richer story of our collective past, and we are better able to inform the present and transform the future. You'll find more details about Civic Season's events, activities, and quizzes at history.utah.gov, and look for #UtahCivicSeason on your social channels.
Thank you so much to Secretary Bunch and Governor Cox, and we hope that every one of you can join in on this challenge.
What's really exciting is all around the country, museums and institutions are having their own kickoffs for this special season. We'll hear from those other cities on our roll call a little bit later.
But as we get into the fun today, there is so much to see and do. Join us on the line. We've already got people having fun, filling out posters. There's so many games. I'm probably going to lose in Jenga later. We've got some awesome local organizations. Make sure to stop by. And later in the day, we're going to be having an incredible panel doing something a little different than your average panel discussion. And we've also got the Civic Awards honoring organizations and individuals who are civically engaged and so much more, y'all.
So grab a popsicle, take a selfie, enjoy some chocolate samples, grab some cotton candy. The possibilities are endless today, and we'll be back soon to keep the party rolling.
And now enjoy some hits from our resident DJ Charlie Rose, and be on the lookout for some hellos from our Civic Season Design Fellows who helped design the season's activities. But first, a little dance break featuring DJ Charlie Rose.
Hi everyone, I'm Teresa Lorenaquino, and I'm one of the Civic Season Design Fellows creating this year's experience. And I'm currently in California in the Bay Area. I'm so excited that the kickoff is finally here. As we reflect on our country's complex history, we'll also be celebrating the democracy that we create. While I wish I could be in Atlanta in person, there are so many other ways to get involved in Civic Season this year, whether it be at various satellite locations or even through our live stream. No matter where you are, I highly encourage you to get involved in civics. Start a dialogue, donate to your local mutual aid fund, vote. You can even explore what you stand for using our posters or our online zine. There's so many little things you can do to make a change. So have a great civic season, everyone. Bye.
Hey everyone, I'm Jasmine Lewis, calling in from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I'm one of the Made by Us Civic Season Design Fellows, and I'm so excited to celebrate this time with you all, this new tradition that we've been building, Civic Season. Civic Season is the time from Juneteenth to July 4th, where we reflect upon America's past while reimagining the limitless possibilities that the future of our nation holds. I'm so excited to educate myself and learn about America's history, while at the same time becoming a future historical figure. It's an amazing opportunity for all of us to commemorate, to educate ourselves, and to just enjoy having fun with our family and friends. So, without further ado, welcome to Civic Season. Can't wait to see how you share your Civic Season story.
I'm so excited to check in to see how everyone else is celebrating the day. Starting right here in Atlanta, up the street, let's see what the Center for Civil and Human Rights is up to.
Hey y'all, this is Nicole over at the Center for Civil and Human Rights, down the street from the folks in Midtown. We just wrapped up our Advocacy Academy sessions. We hosted 2 today, where we were helping people plan and advocate and to really understand what it means to campaign. We're excited to be a part of Civic Season. We are excited to be a part of Made by Us. And we can't wait to see what other institutions are doing across the country. So we're going to send it back to you all in Midtown. We hope to see you soon.
But we can't forget all the fun that's happening around the country. So let's check in with our friends nationwide and see what they have going on.
Hello from the New Jersey Historical Commission. My name is Greer Luce. I'm the Chief Communications Officer here, and we are so excited to participate in Civic Season 2022. We're here today to share some cool stuff happening in the Garden State during Civic Season to activate folks around exploring and discussing the stories, ideas, and contemporary connections of our past. Now I'm going to pass things over to my amazing colleagues, Noelle Lorraine Williams and Mark Lawrence.
My name is Noelle Lorraine Williams, and I am proud to stand here as New Jersey begins its season of commemorating Juneteenth for the 2nd year in a row. We here at the African American History Program at the New Jersey Historical Commission would like to extend a special invitation to all of you to join us for one or even all of our programs that amplify and illuminate the stories of enslaved people here in New Jersey. Starting with June 14th, we'll be hosting a conference at Grounds for a Sculpture with the Sankofa Collaborative that will look at African American historical sites. Then later, we will be hosting an exhibition tour at Marpet Hall for Beneath the Floorboards, which looks at the enslaved in Monmouth County. And finally, we will be hosting a book club looking at Never Caught by Erica Armstrong Dunbar. Please visit the New Jersey Historical Commission's website for more information. Thank you.
Series of big ideas and concepts for the 250th series is this exploration of these larger questions, these larger theories and approaches to the past and to the present. And we're hoping that you come in with an open mind and that you really grapple with some of the conversations that are going on here and see it as a beginning and not the end, right? To get these conversations flowing and sort of work off of them and apply them to your own particular life or your own particular interpretations that you're working with at your historic sites or your organization.
Hello from the San Francisco Bay Area, where Arts Ed for All is celebrating this civic season by sharing art in public spaces. On Sunday, June 12th, join us in Robin Williams Meadow in Golden Gate Park for the 35th anniversary of the AIDS quilt, the largest display ever in San Francisco with nearly 3,000 hand-stitched panels. On Saturday, July 2nd, the Last Choice on Poets paid tribute to the extraordinary life and legacy of artist Hung Lu with a free program of poetry and music at the DeYoung Museum. Catch an online screening of Choice of Weapons inspired by Gordon Parks. Free on demand from June 12th through July 4th.
Photography was a way in which I could express my own feelings. I might have turned to the gun or the knife, but by then I had chosen the camera.
Gordon Parks's photography demanded that America look at itself.
With all that Black people were confronting, it requires a great deal of temerity to say that you're going to change that with your camera.
I wanted to really pursue art, so what I've been doing is taking a page out of Gordon Parks' book. That's when I started realizing how important my imagery was to my city.
Gordon Parks showed me it's important to create this visual narrative of institutional racism and convey that to a viewer.
I've come a long way. I use the camera to build people up and let people feel special. I think you guys are gonna be famous. I owe a lot of where I'm at right now to Gordon. Gordon was that pathfinder.
You're not going to get the great photograph if you don't establish trust.
Narrative work is how you change hearts and minds. If you don't work on the psychology, then you're not going to make any progress.
For the first time, I understood what Gordon was talking about, that the camera is a real weapon. And I realized how powerful I am with a camera in my hand.
On Sunday, June 19th, Arts Ed for All is celebrating Juneteenth with the 24th annual Healdsburg Jazz Festival in Healdsburg, California. Healdsburg Jazz is proud to present a diverse range of music, art, culture, all free to the public in Healdsburg Plaza. Join us in person or online and learn how to make your own Juneteenth pinwheel.
Hey guys, this is Arts Ed for All, and today we're at downtown Oakland, and we are at First Fridays at Oakland.
Yeah, I think we're walking down 22nd Street, walking to Telegraph Avenue here. We can already smell the barbecue.
It smells really good.
Oh yeah.
So what First Friday is that at the first of every Friday of every single month, they hold a street event, and it's a really great way to get different communities together. It includes food vendors,
musicians, people singing. Also a lot of artists to promote indigenous art. For this month, the First Friday in Oakland, celebrating Juneteenth. Juneteenth is short for June and 19th. This is actually considered the second Independence Day for America. June 19th, 1865 is when African Americans were told they have the freedom.
everyone's out, starting out, people are still going at it, having a great time. Like, it was incredibly long for some of them. We just had really good barbecue. People outside, for anyone that's interested in coming to the event. One, it's free. Two, you get to meet a lot of great people, cool vendors, a lot of artists.
Hi. So we just got back into the car after the event, and I would say it's a lot of fun.
I remember my U.S. history education in high school and middle school focused around the U.S. history, but it didn't really talk about Juneteenth. But today we saw a lot of Juneteenth awareness. You could feel the pride in the neighborhood, in the community of Oakland.
I think that's such a beautiful thing too, seeing at how art and food, it's able to be such a unifier between cultures. And one thing that was really awesome about walking around the event today, it's that you saw people of all diversities, all ages, and everyone was just having like a grand old time, which was really fun to see and really fun to be a part of. This is Arts Ed for All. Thanks so much for joining us for a fun day at First Fridays in Oakland, and we'll see you next time.
History, inspiration, and cultural connection for all for free. To learn more, visit artsedforall.blog.
Hello, everybody. Greetings from Mount Vernon. I'm so pleased to be celebrating Civic Seasons with everybody. I'm Allison Wickens, Vice President for Education here, and we are at the Washington Library, a place of research and scholarship, and I'm here with a lovely group of individuals. We just finished playing our game of Washington's Cabinet, the Situation Room Experience. You guys all just came off of the game, yes? Yeah. Wonderful. Hello, hello. And did the nation survive? Yes. Wonderful. It's a live action role play game for the nation to be able to survive and relive the crisis of the 1790s. So do we have any volunteers to say something about how the game went?
It was really stressful, but it was a lot of fun.
Oh, you had to play the British ambassador, right?
Yes, I did.
Oh, geez.
I was not expecting that.
You didn't have to use the British accent, though, right?
No, I didn't.
No. Wonderful. Anybody else want to share who they played in this game today?
I played the chief of the Indian tribes, and we're happy. We're not at war with the continental United States, Britain, or France, and we now have a territory which we can call our own. So thank you very much.
That all went well. We've got surrounded here busts of the founding era leadership here around the library. And oh wait, hey, there's somebody in a tricorn hat here. Who did you play? You played President George Washington. You dressed for the part. Yes. What was it like?
It was a very stressful job. We were being attacked on all different fronts, multiple different situations at once. But at the end of the day, it's pretty fun to do.
Well, you kept a cool head. You kept a cool head, definitely.
For the nation.
And I know we've got some friends here from Georgia who happen to be in Virginia playing the game. I want everybody to say thank you for celebrating Civic Season with us. And I want to tell everybody to remember to enjoy the Feast of Reason coming up next in Georgia. But first, I think we're going to hear from some of our friends in Wyoming. So stand by, Wyoming. And thanks so much, Virginia. Yay!
Hi, so I think we're on. I hope you guys can hear us. I'm here at the Wyoming State Museum. We're outside on our beautiful yard celebrating Civic Season in Cheyenne, Wyoming. We're super excited. This is the very first time that Wyoming has participated in Civic Season, and we're just really excited to be here. So I thought I would introduce the people that we have involved with our event today. So we've got our County Commissioner, Gunnar Malm. He's going to be doing a speech for all of our attendees in just a little bit. Gunnar, you want to say hello?
Yeah, hello everybody. So my name is Gunnar Malm. I'm a 6th generation resident here in Laramie County, which is Wyoming's largest county. And I'm just excited to share my experience with civic engagement and why I feel it's so important. So thank you guys very much.
Awesome. And we'll come on down this way. This is Noah. Noah works in Senator Lummis's office here in Wyoming, and he's going to talk to you guys for just a second as well.
Hi, yeah, I'm here today at the Wyoming State Museum, so that way folks can look at the mock Congress that's looking over different legislation such as cryptocurrency, which is something that Senator Lummis was able to introduce 2 weeks ago, last week perhaps, at the U.S. Senate alongside New York Senator Kristen Gillibrand. And so we're having folks here today look over the same topics, so that way we can get more civic input about these different ideas in this different bill, so that way we can get the most civic input needed to move the bill forward and really start defining these different topics in the United States Senate.
Awesome. So that's Gunnar and Noah, and I'm going to take you guys down this way to the rest of our picnic. We've got all sorts of stations set up where people can do their civic superpower, and they can try to take the United States citizenship test. And we've also got the League of Women Voters. They've showed up to help get people registered to vote and talk about why voting is so important. So we're going to come down here and just have everyone say a big hello from Wyoming.
Hello. Howdy.
Would any of you want to say anything about the League of Women Voters?
Join.
I think you've got to probably be loud.
Yeah, let Marguerite say. You know, the League of Women Voters believes in helping people be informed and make good decisions and then get engaged in their government. And so we have a great group here. We have 5 local leagues in Wyoming plus a state organization. And right now we're just starting into our forums for candidates. And so the campaign season is very busy for us. So we'll make sure people hear about the candidates. And talk about vote for. And yeah, the 411, which is featured on our attractive buttons here, it's a national, state, local website. So people should, they just type in 411, vote 411, they can find out about their local races in the words written by the candidates themselves. So as they say, be informed and vote.
And also, we're here today all dressed up celebrating the fact that Wyoming women were the first women in the world to vote. Thanks a lot, for sure.
Well, thanks everyone for tuning in to our little celebration in Wyoming. We're excited to be a part of it and are so thankful that you invited us to join you.
No, the fun does not stop there. Shout out to all of the people who came to the roll call. That's right. Civic season is not just here, it is across the country. And we'll be back in a few to check in on a few more friends. But right now it's time, almost time to have a little conversation, because at 3:30 Eastern time, join us on the main stage at Commercial Row as we listen to amazing speakers from the food world engage in a dialogue with the help of a new card game called Feast of Reason from Monticello.
Whether you're gathering for Juneteenth or July 4th this summer with a picnic or a barbecue, debates at meals are inevitable, especially today. But having conversations about our country can genuinely widen the lens on how we understand how we got here, what matters to each of us, and where we can go together. And if we don't talk, it's hard to even figure out what we stand for, let alone how to shape the future.
Exactly, because we all know breaking bread can help. So today we're excited to share a really neat dinner party activity that you can do at your next gathering whenever you have people at home. And of course, it's powered by my love, history. With a card deck inspired by 18th century dinners, produced by the folks at Monticello with support from the New York Community Trust Peter G. Peterson Fund, we've brought together movers and shakers in the food scene. We've got chefs, writers, policy leads, and community organizers to bring different perspectives to an unscripted live conversation using this card deck. Across the broad charcuterie board of the American experience, I'm going to use that a lot. I'm just going to refer to everything as a broad charcuterie board. Let's use mealtime as a means to explore what we stand for and something we're calling the Feast of Reason.
And I've got the first question for you, Tori.
Hit me.
So are you ready for an appetizer?
I love it. Give me one.
All right, here it goes. What odd food combination do you love?
All right, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I like a lot of odd food combinations, but I'm kind of a hot sauce connoisseur. I actually think I have 50 or so different hot sauces at home.
What?
I know, it's a problem. So I put hot sauce on everything. I've even put it on ice cream. So yeah, that's my truth. What about you?
Nah, that is weird. All right. So this one, don't judge me, but a few months ago, I was on tour. And when you're on a tour bus, you come up with weird food combinations.
You got to make it happen.
And one of my friends put peanut butter and made like a peanut butter and cheese sandwich. And I was like, ew. But we ran out of meat. So I was desperate. And I was like, all right, I'm going to try this. And it wasn't that bad. It was kind of like the crackers, you know?
Hey. I mean, everyone loves peanut butter. Everyone loves cheese. Well, why not put them together?
Bo.
Come on. I'm going to try that, but with hot sauce.
Maybe don't try this at home, but maybe
Try
do.
it. Try it. And let us know. But no matter what your favorite combination is, this is the kind of thing that makes you you. It's your individual self. And whether those combos remind us of childhood or a place we visited or just reflect our individual taste, food is a window into our daily lives.
You already know, and I'm always eating. Now that you've got food on your mind, it's time to head into commercial row. Here to check out our food speakers on the stage. Don't forget, if you find you have an appetite for this kind of conversation, you can learn how to host your own Feast of Reason at thecivicseason.com or share your take in the Civic Season zine.
Y'all check in 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. Get ready for the Feast of Reason.
Welcome, everyone. How's your Civic season starting? Woo! Awesome. So we welcome our speakers for our Feast of Reason conversation. So just for everyone, your reference, think your favorite food competition show minus the secret ingredients. So you might have heard of Monticello, the home of President Thomas Jefferson. And while we have his vision to thank for the Declaration of Independence, he didn't cook up those ideas alone. Got it? Monticello was a place where enslaved people lived and worked to prepare and host Jefferson's meals that gained a reputation for stunning food and intense conversation. Passionate discussions during these meals helped shape the early United States. But then, much like now, not all voices had a full say. For example, enslaved chef James Hemings was definitely in the room where it happened when Jefferson hosted his famous dinner party featured in the musical Hamilton. So even as we chat over food and drink today, we're reminded that debates about self-government and equal rights are not abstract or theoretical. Conversations are just one way to start to turn thought into understanding and action. So, in light of these dinner debates that shaped the early United States and the labor that enabled them, am I still, all right. Monticello has created a question card deck called Feast of Reason to help you explore what you stand for in conversations with others. We've brought together a great set of food leaders here today to get into it. So here's how this will work. We'll draw cards starting with an appetizer question. They're a bit lighter, and then we'll get into the more serious stuff with the entree cards. We'll go around and hear answers and thoughts. The goal is to hear from everyone, expand your understanding of our country through individual experiences, and not to convince others of your opinion. And if the convo gets too heated, it's okay. Anyone can pull a back burner card to let things simmer and chill out. So if you're watching and you'd like to try this at home at your dinner party, check out the civicseason.com website and find out how you can do so. All right, let's get into it. So I'll introduce our panelists. First, we have Alicia Kennedy, a food and culture writer from New York. She's based in Puerto Rico. Then we have Vanessa Garcia Polanco, the co-director of policy at National Young Farmers Coalition. Abiodun Henderson, who leads the Come Up project right here in Atlanta, featuring Gangsters to Growers initiative. And Brian Yazzie, AKA Yazzie the Chef, who helps sustain and promote native foodways, and Carlos Olashea, a food writer from Miami based in Boston. So how exciting, let's get started. Alicia, if you could start and pull the first appetizer card.
So this card says, introduce yourself and share your name, where you're from, and a favorite childhood food. I am Alicia Kennedy. I am from New York, Long Island specifically, and a favorite childhood food of mine was actually lobster. I really, really loved eating lobster and butter and anything from a shell, and so that continues. I don't eat lobster anymore. I'm a vegetarian, but that's the foundation of my culinary heritage.
Hi, my name's Carlos. I was born in Peru and grew up in Miami, and I actually moved back to Miami now. So, but yeah, it was fairly recent, so it's okay. I couldn't stand the winters, so yeah. A favorite childhood food of mine is something in Spanish called tallarines verdes, which just means green noodles, and it's something my mom made. She's American. She met my dad in Peru, and she learned how to make it because it was really easy. But then she adapted it's basically the Peruvian adaptation of pesto. From that we learned from like the Italian immigrants, and it's just made creamier with spinach and like that fresh white cheese you see crumbled on top of tacos and stuff. And then when we moved to the US, my mom couldn't find those ingredients, so then she made it like Americanized. So it was like several transformations kind of, and it kind of tells a story, but it's just good. It's a good way to get kids to eat their spinach because it's got a lot of cheese and milk in it. So
Hi, I'm Abiodun Henderson, fourth generation Brooklynite, but living in the ATL, shoddy right now. And my favorite food growing up was cassava leaf. My mother's from Liberia, West Africa. Cassava leaf is like a pet, that's why I sucked my teeth, which my mother would be very upset for me. So, but it's kind of like a pesto, but no cheese, no nothing, but it's made with cassava leaves. So you know the cassava plant, like a sweet potato, it has the leaves, you kind of grind it up, put all different type of meat and everything in it and spread it over rice, and it's real spicy, but yummy. It's that spice that you just want to keep going and be like, nah, I gotta stop, but no, one more bite. And my babies who don't like spice, they eat it though. So yeah.
Hello, I'm Vanessa Garcia Polanco. I was born and raised in Mocha, Dominican Republic. But now I have lived in Rhode Island, but now I'm based mostly in Washington, D.C., in sharing my time between Rhode Island, Dominican Republic, and Washington, D.C. Something that I grew up eating was mango, that is mashed plantains with salt, vinegar, or escabeche, like pickled red onions and butter. And also you eat it with other things like fried salami, that is a sausage, fried cheese, and fried eggs. And it was it's such a comforting lazy meal. Like we will only eat it on lazy Sundays. So if it was raining and we didn't know what to cook, and one day we ate it 3 times for our meals because we were bored. So it is also a really comforting food when it's rainy, when it's cold, or you just like have a really bad long day. It's the food I still eat when I'm drinking on my mom. It's like, Mom, why are you not here making me a mango? Why do I live away from home? That's the food I crave and eat from my childhood.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon. My name is Brian Yazzie. I am Navajo or Diné, and I am from the Navajo Nation in modern day northeastern Arizona. If you're familiar with Mountain Valley, that is basically my backyard and where I come from. Currently I'm the executive chef at Gatherings Cafe, which is located inside the Minneapolis American Indian Center in South Minneapolis, in the birthplace of the American Indian movement on Franklin Avenue. We're currently closed to the public, more of a kitchen space right now, where we're feeding the indigenous elders in the community for the past 2 years since the pandemic started. So we have so many grants that come in, community donations. So we just been afloat with that now until probably the end of the summer. We'll be able to start renovating the cafe and open a whole new cafe next summer. So that's where I'm at now. And I would say my childhood, well, currently now I still like it. It's corn mush. It can be, depending on the culture, it can be known as polenta. It can be known as grits, depending if you add sweetener to it, if you add savory to it. For me, I like blue corn mush, which blue corn is one of the original heirloom ingredients from the Southwest, from the Navajo tribe. It has to be nixtamalized, the hulls has to come off of the corn, have it grinded up traditionally. So for me, growing up, I always ate corn mush. Just a little story on that quickly is that for indigenous people, for when you're an infant becoming a toddler, you're going from liquid diet to solid diet. So you're going from eating corn mush to eating corn kernels, right? And as an elder, returning to the spirit world, if you may, you're eating solid food and going back to liquid diet, right? So you're going back to eating corn mush. And that's one of the traditional perspective of life from the Navajo community as well. So I just want to share a piece of that narrative, and polenta, corn mush, grits, whatever it is, you have on the table, I'm always down for it.
But I know about you all, my mouth is watering. I'll take one of each. So let's try one more appetizer card.
So this one is there a peculiar food combo you love that others find strange? And I've been thinking about this, and I don't think I like anything that other people think is strange. I think that I have a very banal palate that likes things that go together, and no one is ever like, ew. I just I like things that go together. And so yeah, I love arugula and black olives on pizza. Let's say that with hot honey. Okay, so but I think that's still pretty normal.
All right, a peculiar food combo that I love that others may find strange if they're not used to it is having a ripe banana with your food. I'm not talking as a dessert. You got a ripe banana, you take a little bit of your rice, your beans, your cassava leaves, and then you have a little piece of the ripe banana, not plantain, ripe banana. And I learned this from Cuban coworkers, and then later found out that tradition, even having the sweet plantain, that is so common in all over Latin America, is directly from West Africa, Nigeria specifically. And you'll find it throughout places with a lot of West African influence, even in Somalia, where they will have a very spicy spaghetti that you have to serve with a ripe plantain or ripe banana, and you take pieces of it. But yeah, and I think the weirdest combination of that is Cuban pizza that has tomato sauce, a thick crust, cheese, and ripe banana on it. It's good. It's really good.
Liberian plantain is better than Nigerian plantain. Their plantain is dry, it's not as sweet. Okay. So it's not the Jollof rice wars. But yeah, I think for a lot of folks in my community are not down with like raw oysters and horseradish. I like, maybe a lot of people here like that. But in my community, it's probably a little weird. The horseradish adds some spice. The oysters are salty and delicious. And I learned from watching a documentary that Samuel L. Jackson was doing in Gabon that some of our ancestors were brought to these inlets and had to wait there for weeks on end for the slave boats to come in to bring them to wherever. And they were not in the forest, they weren't so it was just like grass. So they ate oysters, a lot of oysters. And when he went back there, the whole island, the inlets are like made up of oyster shells, because that's how many folks had to wait there and how long they had to wait. And that's all they had to eat. So I always reflect on that when I'm, enjoying oysters, or have to have oysters wherever I go near some water.
I don't like oysters, so I will let you to it. This is a combination that is really popular in my culture, but I do not subscribe to it, but I really love sharing it because it's fascinating. Dominicans love to eat spaghetti, like our carbonara style, inside bread as a sandwich when you're going to the beach. And the most logical way to explain this is that both of those things are cheap to make and going to the beach is expensive in the art. Like I went to the beach maybe 5 times in the 15 years I lived in the Dominican Republic. Like 15 years, 5 times, because it was so far, it's inaccessible, really curvy, dangerous drive, all the things. I grew up 2 hours away from the beach and I will go literally every other year. Now I go more often because I'm an adult and I say, I want to go to the beach. But it's a really common thing that has been written about and spoken about. And it's also, it's like, it's cheap, it's affordable. You bring it to a pot or you bring it with you and make it at the beach. But I cannot eat all those carbs together. And my mind cannot process that likeness. I will eat one or the other, probably just the bread by itself. But a lot of my fellow Dominicans love that combination. And it's like a popular cultural thing, a staple thing to do when you're going to the beach or to the river or just doing a field trip.
It might be more of a positive thing, but I like coconut milk with wild rice. So it's more like a porridge, if you may, so it's more like white rice and coconut, right? But it's wild rice, hand harvest from northern Minnesota, from the local tribes, right? And just coconut milk, simmer that down just like you would, when you're cooking white rice, but using if you had oat milk or almond milk, but I would recommend coconut milk. You don't need to add too much sugar to it afterwards, because with the coconut milk, it's already sweet enough. And from there, I like to add cranberries or fresh berries, and for me, for some reason, I like nori seaweed. I like to break it up and place it on top of that porridge. It's an odd combo, but for me, that savory, that sweetness, and that salty, it just combines, and it's one of my meals late at night, especially if I'm coming home from work, cooking in the kitchen all day, and I have that leftover already in the fridge or freezer.
All right, wonderful. Let's move on to our entree section. So if Vanessa or whomever would like to, so it's here. Yep, we're here.
All righty. Did I seem nervous or something? I don't know. Okay, what is something about the United States that does not make sense to you? It was the ancestors telling me, girl, this question, do you really want to pick this up? Let somebody else do it. They was trying to tell me. What in America, in the United States, does not make sense to you? Right now, everything, and that's why the suicide rate is up. Womp womp. I'm Debbie Downer. Y'all know from Saturday Night Live. I'm Debbie Downer in my community. But yeah, like I said, everything. That's why the suicide rate is so high. That's why mental illness is higher than it is in any other country, because we get to enjoy things like this. And then, but the reality is still the same, that, America is stomping on everybody's stuff. White folks can't be satisfied, just insatiable greed, so they have to go everywhere and take, and still ain't satisfied or happy. And we're all becoming like them all over the world. But specifically, I would like to say it's the prison system and locking up babies. We know the scientific fact that if you are under 25, your brain is not fully formed, especially that frontal lobe, that, helps you with decision-making and everything. But we still insist on when children make a mistake, especially Black children and poor children, when they make a mistake, we want to pile them on the years, so that's one of the goals of mine. I got somebody that got locked up at 18 for 4 counts of armed robbery, got 20 years, no parole, no nothing. Got a 14-year-old when he was 13, committed armed robbery because something traumatic happened to him, so he decided to take it out on somebody else, and they're trying to lock him up as an adult when he's 14. There's babies in middle school that are locked up right now in facilities because they committed a crime or made a mistake as a child. And it's weird, it's abnormal. We should all be disgusted with ourselves. I'm sorry. Okay. Who next? Oh, go around. Oh, that makes sense.
Thank you for trying. So that doesn't make sense to me. I'm an immigrant, so I'm still learning American culture and American things. So that doesn't make sense to me in the United States is that our narrative doesn't match our institutions. And basically, the biggest narrative that we hear as an immigrant coming to the United States, like United States is a land of abundance, it's a land of opportunity, and all of that is BS. Because we know all those things are fabricated, and all of these institutions still hold a lot of power. And when I think of institutions, I think of universities, I think of colleges, I think of where you apply for a job, I think of the American government. When we talk about this narrative, like the land of opportunity, the land of abundance, that doesn't match where we invest our money in the federal government, that doesn't match how we feed our communities, that doesn't match how we invest in people. If we really were the land of abundance and opportunity, we will have universal basic income and everyone will be on a SNAP because food is a human right and many other things, but that's not who we are. So something for me that has taken a long time, is still taking a long time to learn, and that doesn't make sense in the United States, is that this is the America that we think it is, and this is the America who really is. And every day in my job, I had to face the reality is like, oh, this is why things are done this way. It's because so and such pay money to help pass this law, or so person pay this person to be in power, or so many persons donated to this person and that won their campaign. And this is the reason I cannot pass this law that will help feed communities and keep farmers farming. So for me, it's always that what we call a cognitive dissonance. This is what the narrative America sells to the world and to its people, and this is actually how it operates. So things that don't make too much sense to me, the narrative that we hold and how we actually do things.
Oh man, this is a good topic. I mean, I can definitely cover the colonial history approach and the indigenous and BIPOC resiliency, but I think what I'll cover right now is what's happening today, right? The last couple of months. You know, what I don't understand and what does not make sense to me is, you know, how can you purchase alcohol at the age of 21, but you can purchase a rifle at 16 or 18? You know, that to me, that does not make sense at all. You know, and, you know, for me, coming from a household of some relatives who carry guns, right? But at the same time, it's always educational perspective, right? And I can say that from my household and the people that I know, we don't have rifles in our homes. We have handguns, you know, because we have that commitment and that boundary of how not should we be citizens or obey the law, right? But it's having that common sense of how to protect your household, how to protect your family, and not to overdo it with ego or whatever it may be, right? So yeah, so right now it's been mind-boggling with my family and my friends, you know, and it had affected a lot of people close to me, you know, with all the shootings that's been happening. You know, as an uncle, you know, I started seeing a lot of dads and uncles at public schools who were posted up, you know, their parents, but they're there helping protect, securing the halls or stuff like that, right? So that's one thing I've been looking at into one of my niece's school, you know, to see if I can, you know, provide some of my time for a couple hours after school or something, you know, just to be there to hang out with the kids and to see that, make sure everything is safe. Because to me, yes, we have law enforcement, but to me, it's always community first. It's always how you bring up your children, how you bring up your community first. You know, so for me, it's always community based, and that's where, you know, I just want to end that saying that, you know, we just got to look at ourselves and our community and how we teach our kids, you know, bringing them into this world. Thank you.
As everyone has said, there are about 10 million things we could all talk about in response to this question. But it is also to talk about food specifically. You know, we produce so much food in the United States, and 30 million people are hungry every day and food insecure, and 12 million of those people are children. And there is not much motivation to bring back child tax credits that were fixing that for people. And we continue to have, you know, a food system controlled by massive corporations, industrial processes, monocropping. And it is this extension, obviously, of a settler colonial mentality that is about dominance and profit that we continue to exist in, and it really affects how we all eat. It makes our foodways extremely non-diverse, and it makes our everything just ineffective, and we are going to reap the consequences of this in terms of climate change and also in terms of increased food insecurity these days.
I'm actually glad that I'm last because it gave me a little extra time to think about everything, because there are some, some are smaller things and some are bigger things. And actually Vanessa did touch on something about the, I want to preface this like, you listen to me speak, you see how I look, and yeah, I pass for like a white American. I'm a white Hispanic. So I was born in Peru. My mom's white American, but my dad's of like German, Northern European descent. And there are more of us than you think. I'm not going to get into all of it. If you want to talk about the whole Hispanic Latino thing, I'm available to explain break that down. But yeah, it is kind of tough here. I just kind of want to reiterate that before I get into the quick, real point of it. In our countries in Latin America, like, yes, we may not tell you what our intentions are to your face, but there's a code. If you say, almost like in the South, if someone says, oh, bless your heart, you know what that means, right? But what we find in the United States is that there really is no clear message. You're having to read between the lines with everyone you speak. So imagine if like you say, bless your heart, and everyone kind of smirks and say, oh, okay, gotcha, I know what you mean. But you say bless your heart and you actually really mean bless your heart. And you mean bless your heart, you mean I'm gonna curse you to death. And it almost kind of feels like that. So you come here and say, this is the land of opportunity. Okay, great, then the opportunity is available to everyone. This is the land of equality. And then, okay, so then we don't have a language. We don't have enough, so then I should be able to speak Spanish wherever I want. And then you realize it's like, oh no. This is just like what we tell people. This is part of our marketing promotion, but in reality, and nobody wants to tell you exactly what it is. So it's like those jobs where it's just like, is this a front? No one's gonna tell you that it's a front, but everyone kind of knows that it's a front and you just don't talk about it type of thing. That's how it kind of feels like as an immigrant coming to the United States. Like, did you see that? But like no one's, but like this is segregation, right? So we don't talk about, no, everyone's together. Right, but the thing I wanna, it's a little more lighthearted is the United States just doesn't seem to want to accept the part that it's part of planet Earth. It's been historical. Like, think about even like superficial things, the sports we play. We're the only ones that play those sports. We invented those sports so that we can play, and then it's almost like we had to colonize countries so we can find people to play with, to teach, to teach the Japanese how to play baseball so that we don't just play with ourselves, right? To teach the Chinese how to play basketball. Like, you ask everyone else in the world, it's like, well, why don't you guys play soccer? The rest of us are. And it kind of seems like you guys just think you're better than everyone else. But then now when we're starting to find out we're not so powerful, we're not so rich, we don't have all the ideas, and yet we're still acting as if we're on this separate planet from even Canada and Mexico and the Caribbean. You'd probably, as a Latina from, like, when you say in Spanish, America, what do you mean? In Spanish, in South America, when you say America, you mean from the tip of Canada to the bottom of Argentina. When you talk about the United States, you say estadounidense, which, yes, it's a mouthful. I don't think we should be saying United Statesian or something like that. But even the fact that the United States co-opted the word that's supposed to stand for an entire diverse continent made up of hundreds and hundreds of different types of people, ethnicities, cultures, histories, religions, to mean, oh no, this whole continent actually means us. And I mean, we've even had discussions of where it's like, in Puerto Rico, the tradition of Three Kings Day is disappearing because people are doing Santa Claus and Christmas. Or how like Peruvian Christmas, we never really celebrated because what do we eat? Waldorf salad, roast turkey, mashed potatoes, sweet rice pilaf, some mayonnaise salad, and an applesauce. Why? Because it was trendy. No chilies, no potatoes, nothing that we eat. Why? Because in the 50s, it was considered trendy and upper class to do an American style Christmas. with hot chocolate, never mind that it's 98 degrees because we're south of the equator. So it's the middle of summertime, people should be having barbecue. No, everyone's wearing sweaters and drinking hot chocolate in the middle of the freaking summer because the gringos do it, and that's like the upper class type of thing to do. So we kind of need to like keep what I feel is just like, why, yeah, we can keep our heritage, it's great, but why not start just interacting with the rest of the world? Traveling more, getting to know people outside of our communities, because the United States is becoming more and more international as well, too. And our idea that we're the only ones in the world actually, gets into defining what American food is. It's like in Peru, we consider fried rice to be Peruvian food because the Chinese came and they adapted it here. How many people here, like just off the cuff, if you asked any American, you said General Tso's chicken, egg rolls, and fried rice and crab rangoon, is that American food? No, that's Chinese food. Pizza, is that American food? No, that's Chinese food. Tacos, is that American food? No, that's Mexican food. When all these types of things were actually like the crunchy tacos, that was invented here. Sriracha, is that American or Vietnamese? American, it was invented that sauce was invented in California. But because we think that it just needs to be Anglo culture, right? We don't even recognize the richness of the culture and the cuisine that we have because we consider ourselves separate from the rest of the world. And that's just kind of confusing, especially coming from countries where it's just like, oh yeah, the Chinese and the Thai, we'll just all take it together and make our own new culture. Where it's here just kind of seems everyone just wants to be separate, kind of. That was a lot, wasn't it? Yeah, so.
Okay, catch your breath, Carlos. I love this question because I can answer like numerically or qualitatively. What ingredients do you think are essential for a country to function? So, in the United States, we have this amazing law called the Farm Bill that basically dictates how much we grow everything. And I have to interact and help pass a lot every single day of my life. So, well, now. And those ingredients, I love this question because what I think those ingredients are not the things that are in the Farm Bill. What are the ingredients that are core to my identity and to my country and to my community are like not even 1% of how we allocate money for things in this country. So statistically speaking, the most important crops for this country are wheat, soy, and corn. Statistically speaking, those are the most important crops based on how much money we invest on those crops and how much money the federal government subsidizes growing those crops. But I feel like if we were to do a survey of who eats those things and how we eat those things, those are probably not the way we think about the main food sources. But there may be a lot of soy in some products that we eat. There's always usually corn in anything that we eat. Wheat, we consume a lot of wheat, bread and pasta and other things. But that's not really the crops that we think about when we are cooking our meals or eating 4 times a day. These are not the crops you think are essential to you as a human being. So again, when I go back to tell you about United States narratives and things that don't make sense, this is a great example. Then, like, these are the crops we decide to invest in, but these are not the crops that make sense for us as eaters and as individuals in the food system. Like, I love eating leafy greens. I love eating collard greens and kale and a lot of fruits and vegetables. And the way those are the things that I think should be essential for our diets. But those are not the things that we invest heavily as a country, even when we know those are better for food and nutrition. Even when I know those are the things my farmers are growing, young farmers and farmers of color, because we decide that other crops like wheat and soy and corn, and I don't mean corn like the corn that Jazz is growing. I mean, I'm talking corn that is going to end up in a lot of different thousand products in the supermarket. Again, things that don't make sense, but these are the way we eat in this country. But that's the way we have set up the food system to function. So those are the 3 crops that I can tell you are the most important. And I tell you 3 crops that I wish were the most important.
Can everyone hear the question?
Food wise, I would say, there's a lot of trend right now with keto diet, paleo diet. There's a lot of trend right now with quinoa, amaranth, right? And but we have to be careful with those because, for example, with amaranth and quinoa, it's a popular diet right now with vegan and with all these new trends, right? But if you look at where these ingredients come from, these communities are planting and harvesting these ingredients for the world, right? But they cannot afford their own indigenous ingredients. It can be like anywhere from, in the US, it can be anywhere from $3.99 for a pound of amaranth, right? But for those communities, they would have to purchase it anywhere from $30 to $100 a pound, right? So, and that's on their own homeland, right? So for me, regenerating the soil, reintroducing young farmers, for me, it's always corn. It's always with over 560 plus recognized tribes in the US alone, over 900 in Canada, over a couple thousand in Mexico alone, not counting South America. For me, it's corn. It's definitely amazing, right? And yeah, anyway, it's very versatile. The corn, it can be flour, it can be provided for livestock. It can be made into flour and made into soup, whatever it may be, right? So yeah, for me, it will be corn. And just looking at that, with 80% of the cornfields across the U.S. alone are not corn. They are commercial soybeans, commercial products that are commercially grown and sent elsewhere to other countries, but it's always when the pandemic hit, I started hearing about victory gardens, community gardens, more and more, right? So I started a balcony, I call it my balcony, my balcony garden. And I have 2 varieties of corn that I'm growing. And I also have a different type of corn that I'm growing. It's only for if you go to like fine dining, you have those little twigs and greens on top of the plate, right? The little garnishes. So I have it's a couple of corn that I'm growing that I'm using for garnishes, and it's really sweet when they grow about a couple of inches in height. So yeah, so for me it would be corn.
All right. What ingredients do you think are essential for our country to function? One, I want to just follow up. I've had Diné Navajo blue cornmeal mush, and I've actually bought Diné blue cornmeal. It's amazing. And you can buy these products online, and even they'll have like the coarser ground corn to make grits with. And you have not had grits until you've had grits made from native corn. Because the grits you get, like the cornmeal you get at the supermarket, that's just generic. You will try this corn and it'll be like, you won't have to add anything. It has so much flavor and creaminess in it. So the same, me being from South America too, same thing goes with potatoes. Like, I wish I could just smuggle some potatoes for you guys to try. You don't have to put butter, sour cream, or anything. They are flavorful on their own. 2,000 varieties, same type of thing. But I think there's 3 things that we need. I'm going to talk in very abstract terms. Curiosity. I think we as a country, as a culture, need to start being more curious about even just the people around us. There are people in my city, and I'm sure in your city too, that don't know anything about the other side of town, the other side of the tracks. And especially for cities that have different races that have been at odds with each other for so long, there's a division between that. The other thing I think we desperately need in the United States is cultural anthropology, or the study of anthropology in general. How many people here, raise of hands, know what anthropology is? Okay, that's not acceptable. If I were in any other country, everyone's hands would go up, including the babies. Anthropology is the study of humans. The biggest, it includes archaeology. One of the biggest fields in it is cultural anthropology, which is the study of culture and how it affects people. Anthropologists, and this is what I studied in my undergrad, you have to be a PhD to actually do anything with it, really, but the principles apply. You can even teach it to the little kids. Things of like emic and edic perspective. The emic perspective is my perspective of your culture. the outsider perspective of your culture, how I'm judging you with my cultural values. The EMIC perspective is how people judge their own culture. These are important tools to deal with a very diverse population that we are in the United States and only becoming more diverse. A lot of Americans do not understand the difference between race and ethnicity and culture. A lot of Americans, we are a very race-centered country. And in that case, you can even say we are probably the most superficial culture in the world because we believe everything about you is based on how you look. How many times do you hear it's like, oh no, it's like, you know, I eat mayonnaise because I'm white. It's like, no, you eat mayonnaise because you were brought up eating mayonnaise, not because of some genetic thing. It's dumb, it's really stupid to say that. But I have people who say like, what's, you know, it's like, oh, I am a white Hispanic. It's like, well, you can't be both. It's like, yes, you can. Because my skin is white, but my culture is Hispanic. And he did not understand what the difference was. I've met old white Americans who were like, if you were born in the United States, it is physically and genetically impossible for you to speak Spanish. If you speak Spanish as an Anglo-American, that means you must have some Hispanic in your blood in order for you to have the ability to do that. And if you start talking to a lot of Americans, that's not an outlier. A lot of Americans believe that. So if we teach our children the principles of culture and anthropology, they can understand like one, you know, phenotypes, the color of your skin really are just skin deep. Everything else is culture, including the value that we give race. You know, all of the, you know, whether a race is considered inferior or superior, that's all invented by people. That's all culture. Culture is just a shared system of information. Someone needed to make that up at some point. And the other thing, and this kind of touches on your mental health issue, we need psychology in this country. We need better mental health and we need to erase the stigma about it. People need to do their own, the people need to do the introspection. There's help out there. If a psychologist is not for you, there's a social worker, there's a mental health counselor, there's more outreach for people of color, for different minorities that are more sensitive, for LGBT communities and everything. But we need to start thinking about ourselves and undoing the trauma of what it is, whether you're in a position of power or an oppressed person, to undo whatever you were taught that is toxic and making this country and our culture toxic. Those three things together, I think, can really move the country forward if we all got on board with them.
Amazing. Okay, to follow that speech. How do I do it? So what ingredients do you think are essential for our country to function? Well, I think it would be, this goes with what you were saying, Carlos. I think it would be nice to have some awareness of the history of the United States, be more deeply understood, as well as the current conditions of the United States as an empire, as a colony holding empire. And I think that obviously we need to get back to the squash, the beans, the corn. And I think that also, and I think this is where I was going more intentionally, is that an appreciation for regionalism in terms of food would be really key. And I think that that also comes with that lack of curiosity that people have, which is that you go to a new place and you want to eat the same things and you expect to see the same things and you expect the supermarket to have all of the same things in the same quantities and you expect the price to be the same, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that it would go a long way toward actually fixing our food system to make sure that we are appreciating regionalism and seeking it out and not going places with the intention of living your exact same life that you live at home. And obviously living in Puerto Rico, I see this all the time because it is a colony of the United States. Americans come all the time and kind of just expect to go to McDonald's. They expect to eat the same things. They're upset about how mofongo tastes. I've heard someone call it mashed potatoes that tasted like banana. And so there's even people going to another country are not expecting to appreciate the diversity that's there, appreciate the new flavors, appreciate the new things. And so without that sort of coming into focus and that necessary appreciation of regionalism, there is like really no hope, because we're going to keep being a nation of monocrops of wheat and corn and soy. We're going to keep being a nation of processed foods and somehow still maintain food insecurity and hunger, even though there are supermarkets filled with things. I mean, when you think about how Tyson and other massive meat companies were in cahoots in cahoots with, you know, Trump at the beginning of the pandemic to force meat processing workers back into the plants without proper protections, and basically, you know, engineered a meat crisis that didn't exist in order, and that people died, people got sick, people died. You know, we let our food system be controlled by these forces, these corporate forces, these monocropped ingredients, and a total lack of appreciation for regionalism. And that's just a recipe for death, cultural death, obviously, but also ecological death, clearly.
Amazing. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I think I'm worried about the curiosity thing. I'm like, folks are, what Cat Williams said, that Black folks and people of color were nomadic and white folks were explorers. You know, stop exploring, stay home. If you want a vacation, go to Europe. Leave everybody, no, just give, you know, just give folks a chance, give folks a year to build up their economy by themselves, through their food, through farming, like you were saying, you know, folks have to buy, they, you know, I don't want to go on a whatever it's called. So I think honesty, you know, is really important, which we're getting a lot of. You know, folks are like, oh, you're beating me over the head with America. See, look, and I do it too. I call this place America, and it's the United States, because I've been brainwashed. But yeah, you know, folks are like, you know, yeah, United States, we know it has a horrid past. It murdered the indigenous folks and put them in school. It did this, da da da, and folks feel like, you know, hey, okay, I got it, I know. But you know, we got to keep going. We got to be like fully, like, even when us Black farmers are talking about land, you know, we're just starting to think about our Native family, our indigenous family, like, whose land is this really? You know what I'm saying? Yes, it was in your family. Yes, it belonged to Black folks way back in the day, but who did it belong to before? Like, we have to have these tough conversations, and then we have to have follow through. So honesty and follow through, you know what I'm saying? With the realization of like, we're doing everything wrong. You know what I'm saying? How do we uplift indigenous people in this country? How do we teach, you know, while we're talking about Black history in school, you know, and being all year round, how do we teach indigenous history in school and sometimes adapt those ways as well that are healthy, those healthy ways, you know what I'm saying? How do we, you know, like you're saying, how do we stop people from being offended when we talk about, you know, white culture, you know, and nobody's really white, right? Y'all European, da da da. But this white culture, this culture of whiteness that's affecting everybody, Black folks, Nigerian, you know, folks all over the place. This culture of greed, honestly, is what it is. You know, how do we be honest about it, see how it shows up in our daily life, and then follow through with the solutions that, you know, and then follow other people. Like, actually, it's time for our white brethren to sit down or go to your legislators every day if you have the time and fight for poor people, you know, period. You know what I mean? Like, and let Black folks and indigenous people have the money and the peace to build what they need to build to be okay, that will end up going for everyone else, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we, and be okay with that? Like, you know, the white ancestors got it wrong. You know what I'm saying? They got it wrong. They got it wrong, y'all. They got it wrong. I'm sorry. They got it wrong. This culture is invading the world where the fast food is giving diabetes and sicknesses to countries that never had it before. Like the culture of just anything goes, yo. It's not good. It's not healthy. It's not good. So how do we just acknowledge that and say, you know what? Our culture, this American United States culture, you know what I'm saying? Culture is not healthy. We need a shift. We need to follow indigenous people. We need to follow folks in the other, you know, I'm just tired, y'all. It needs to end. It's sick. It's sick. You know what I'm saying? And we're okay because I can go home and order and I participate. I order Uber Eats when I get home, when I'm around the corner from a farm that I really rock with for the last 10 years. Like, you know, so I'm talking to myself as well. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to myself as well. Like, I got to do away with this culture because it's not healthy and all of us need to follow suit. And also, we need to be honest, because I only mentioned two. We also need to be honest about our legislators. Our legislators, they either come from corporations and become legislators. They come from families that have been popular within, you know, or are well known within government and in the corporation. And then they go back to those corporations. The corporations that are treating people unfairly, that are going into towns, not paying people right. Like this mostly white male Congress that we have is upholding all the things. And I don't want our white brethren to like internalize this, but let's just realize this, they ain't for nobody but themselves. And when we look in the mirror, we have to ask ourselves, are we also just for ourselves? Or every day, are we doing something for people other than just our family? Are we gonna become the village again? That we, in European villages, European small towns had villages. You know, South America, all these places had villages where everybody worked together and cared for each other. We gotta bring that back in all of our blah, blah, blah.
I just wanted to clarify something. And this kind of piggybacks on, you know, just being frank in this country, calling things out for what they are. I definitely understand what you said about curiosity, and you were nodding your head about that too. No, I'm sorry, going into somewhere, looking around, and then taking stuff, like going to you know, native places and being like, oh wow, purple corn, like, you know, blue corn. I'm gonna take this and like label it as right, and then no, sweetie, that's not curiosity. That's exploitation. That's not even appropriation. That's exploitation, right? So don't start using, because this is a country, this is a culture. One thing that confuses us when we move here, this is a culture that loves its euphemisms. You know, that loves sugarcoating everything. So it's like, so certain things like curiosity, patriotism, you know, things like that end up getting co-opted by the wrong people to mean, so that when I say, oh, we got to be curious about other cultures and other people, automatically, especially if you're talking about oppressed people, it's like, oh crap, this white male is telling me I got to be more curious. We're trying to get our feet off the, no. I'm talking about going, being like, oh, this is what you're doing. Let me tell my friends about it so that, and send them the link so that they can buy and support and donate and volunteer. And still stuff can happen with it. That's what ends up happening. So then we have to, you know, those with the agency, those who have that power have to also step up and defend the people who don't have the power and be like, no, you're not selling this. And call them out publicly, call them out and shame them. No, my friend Abby came up with that idea first and you ripped it off of her. And people are doing that more and more. And I'm actually seeing more and more people that used to be in positions of power in the society have had enough of it. They're just like, yeah, we have more money than God. We have all the power in the world. We don't need any more. What are we hanging on to? And we're seeing this guy who, you know, he goes to spring break to Thailand and now is saying, butterfly pea flower, I invented it. And I've seen so many stupid things, especially, you don't realize it until it comes from your own community. In Peru, we have a purple corn. not like the blue corn, the purple corn has a lot of antioxidants. And when you boil it, it makes a juice that tastes like bubble gum. It's really good. But so these guys from like Ohio, they started taking that and marketing it and saying, oh, the Incas used this as an energy drink for their soldiers. And it was like, is this part of Peruvian history I didn't hear about? So I'm texting my friends. It's like, was this? It's like, no, it was a food dye. And then when Africans were brought against their will to Peru, it reminded them of the sorrel drink that they had, the zobo from West Africa, and they turned it into a punch. So it was actually not even native Peruvians or the white Spanish, but the Africans who made it into the drink that it's popular in today. So that type of stuff is stupid. And we need to call people out on that and reclaim that word curiosity for what it really is. Just exploring and getting to know other people as fellow human beings, not as potential victims, not as people to exploit. I just wanted to clarify that.
You guys are bringing the heat. So much to chew on. So we're a minute over. And so, no, absolutely. I'd say the game is a success. So we are going to wrap up. I want to take a moment to thank each of you for your participation in this Feast of Reason discussion. And for those of you watching, thanking the guest, and thanks to Monticello for the card deck and the scholarship behind it. And be sure to let us know what you all thought about this Civic Season discussion and this card game at civicseason.com. And you can check out the instructions there for hosting your own Feast of Reason conversation and discussion. So now it's back to the rest of Civic Season. Enjoy.
Y'all, the Feast of Reason dinner party was incredible. Like, I could literally listen to every single person in there talk all day. My mind was blown.
Honestly.
I just think hearing all those different perspectives and those different points of view, I mean, that's really what Civic Season is all about.
Seriously, like I was there, like I could be there all day. Like
Right?
just like you said, I was just like, damn, these conversations are so deep. Let's keep this party going and see what else is happening across the country.
Hi everybody, Mike Medea, Head of Education Programs at the American Philosophical Society. For those who don't know about the American Philosophical Society, or the APS, we are the nation's oldest learned society, founded by Benjamin Franklin and other brilliant minds of the time in 1743. We're located right here in Philadelphia, next to Independence Hall and Philly's historic district. I'm currently standing in our exhibition, Becoming Weatherwise, A History of Climate Science in America. We think this exhibition, which traces the history of climate science from the 1700s through the early 1990s, is a really great standout for the Civic Season and really being aware of the history of this science and connecting it to deeper thinking about our current crisis. We're delighted to be part of the Civic Season and the Made by Us collaborative, so be sure to join us throughout the kickoff event, or even during the weeks kind of following that as well. Again, we're so excited to be part of this, and we hope to see you throughout the Civic Season or even during the kickoff.
Hi, my name is Lisa Ackermolder, and I'm the director here at the Betsy Ross House in the heart of historic Philadelphia, just blocks away from Independence Hall and the Liberty Bell. And this is someone who should need no introduction.
But I shall introduce myself anyway. My name is Betsy.
Thank you, Betsy. Has it been a while since you visited the Betsy Ross House? Like maybe since your 4th grade field trip? Or maybe you've never visited. We'd love to welcome you back, and there's no better time to come see us than in June. We celebrate the Stars and Stripes with fun and mostly free activities spread over 8 days from June 12th to 19th. We call the celebration Flag Fest, and this is the festival's 15th year.
15 years! I cannot possibly be that old. But nevertheless, this is the very best time of the year to visit my home because of all these wonderful activities as we will celebrate the flag of our United States of America.
We're excited about some new additions to Flag Fest. Each day begins with a flag raising here in the courtyard.
This year, over the 8 days of the festival, we'll be raising different flags to celebrate the diverse nation the Stars and Stripes represent. For example, we'll be raising the Pride flag on June 15th in celebration of Pride Month, and the Juneteenth flag on June 19th to commemorate the emancipation of enslaved people. And that same afternoon, we'll have a special Juneteenth concert by the Philadelphia Heritage Chorale, directed by Dr. J. Donald Dawson.
Music! I am so excited. Oh, gracious me. I must say that the raising of flags and different flags is so important because we must recognize that we are a diverse nation. And yet, nevertheless, the flag of our United States is our national flag that must unite all of us together. This is what is so important.
We're also debuting a brand new program that introduces visitors to several different 18th century women representing the religious, economic, social, racial, and political diversity of the city. A lot of visitors don't realize how many different groups live side by side in colonial Philadelphia, just like they do today. And for something a little bit different, we've got an after-hours event for those of you who prefer your history served with a cocktail. Red, White, and Booze, a Star-Spangled Tipsy history will be led by Betsy here.
I like my history a little tipsy, but Betsy will not get too tipsy, I promise. Nevertheless, I will indeed be talking about the flag of the United States in such a way that thou hast probably never heard before. And yes, I might need a few helpers to tell that story, but again, I shall be a sober Quaker. What thou shalt do, but I won't tell anybody.
If you can't make it for Flag Fest, don't worry. There's plenty to see and do here at the Betsy Ross House all summer long. You'll learn the story of the first American flag, and even more importantly, the story of the real Betsy Ross. She was a working mother, an entrepreneur, a patriot, and so much more. And so were other women of her time. They don't always teach you that in history class. Anytime you visit, you can meet Betsy here working in her upholstery shop.
Most certainly, I will be working in my shop, and yet I will be visiting also with the many different people who will be coming to visit. Why, I've been told that there will be an influencer, there will be politicians, why, there will be generals, a general who bears my name. I'm so excited to meet this woman, and then I've been told there's a fanatic coming. My gracious me, this is what is so exciting, meeting new people.
Absolutely. Plus, we have storytellers in the courtyard telling short, fun, interactive stories that didn't make it into the history books. And on the first Fridays of July, August, and September, we host another after-hours event. First Friday movies under the Stars and Stripes. We show a kitschy movie here in the courtyard. Think The Amazing Colossal Man. And everyone is welcome to bring snacks and adult beverages and make a night of it. For the full Flag Fest summer schedule, visit our website at historicphiladelphia.org. So come visit us here in historic Philadelphia, where it all started, and make sure you come by Betsy's house to say hello.
Please do, and we will begin on June 12th on Sunday with chocolate making. I do believe it is an American heritage. Come visit.
Hey, Made by Us. I'm Gina Marie Jameson. I am the Director of Public Programs at Revolutionary Spaces, whose mission it is to explore the struggle to create and sustain a free society, as singularly evoked by the two national treasures we steward: Old South Meeting House, where I am right now, and the Old State House in Boston, Massachusetts. We are checking in for roll call for the kickoff for Civic season at 7 o'clock tonight. We are going to have people down at Old South Meeting House for a history slam. There is going to be flash presentations of your favorite American changemaker under the age of 30. We have beer available from Dorchester Brewing, sodas, water, snackos. It's going to be awesome. We're going to pump up the jams in an 18th century meeting house, and we are going to party in the USA, as they say. So come on down 310 Washington Street tonight at 7 o'clock. We will see you then. Thanks so much, Made by Us, and we're so happy to celebrate Civic season. Thanks for including us.
We're kicking off the Civic season here in Miami, Florida at History Miami Museum with our We the People tour that just ended today through July 4th, with ways to learn and connect with your past.
We have to be on the best skills as a country. No one group of people can get less than one. We all have to take up some part of this struggle and be engaged in it is such a way that we don't see some zero gain, that we see the parts, the discipline, whoever they may be, however they may identify, that we see the inclusion of that, strengthening the whole rather than reducing it. And so there were some folk in line, across racial lines, across class lines, across gender lines, across economic lines, who work together to try to push our way next. Be naive enough to believe it was all taken care of. I know better than that. You know better than that. We all know better than that, right? But I'm simply saying, in the midst of an evolving country, where was Iowa a site for people to select in order to believe that imagined hope of owning farms, of building schools, of educating their children, of starting businesses was a possibility for them.
Incredible. Did you see all the different ways people are celebrating civic season right now? I mean, Betsy Ross herself is celebrating civic season. I don't know if y'all caught that, but I did. And so it's just so great to see things shaping up like this all over the country. And it's not only museums doing this, it's people just like you and I. I mean, even if you're finding yourself traveling this summer or even exploring your own backyard, civic season has also teamed up with Airbnb to create a playlist of unique curated experiences to discover what you stand for. You can check that out on the civicseason.com. Also, all of this design was done by incredible civic season design fellows nationwide, like Candace at the Chicago History Museum. And let's hear from her about why they're excited for civic season.
My name is Candace, and I'm the program coordinator at the History Museum, as well as a Civic Design Fellow. So we just got done with our Flag Day event. We talked about flags and symbols that unite us together under one common goal. And I will be wrapping it up on July 4th with a big backyard party here in Chicago. So we're so glad to be a part of this.
Hi, I'm Brandy Cardenas. My home is Charlottesville, Virginia. And for me, civic season, I'm really excited about because of the connection. It's been really hard. Probably like many of us, I found myself kind of lost in the despair of the world and all the things going on. And it's been really nice to connect with people and institutions who care and who also are driven to do something. And I'm really excited to have the community, have the connection to the community to move forward. Happy civic season.
Civic season is finally here. I'm so excited for you all to see all of the hard work that the Made by Us team and the Civic Season Design Fellows have put forth to make this a reality. If there is ever a time for a new American tradition, I think it's now, especially Civic Season, which is all about working together and advancing the common good. It's really a reminder that even in the most adverse times, if we come together, we truly can accomplish so much. So I hope you all have so much fun. And just remember to look at your neighbor as your neighbor, ask your neighbor questions, because you might find out that you have more in common than you realize. Happy Civic Season!
Thank you to our design fellows for showing us what Civic Season means to you and helping make this year's celebration what it is today. It's amazing to see how many people all across the country are connecting with Civic Season.
It really, really is. All of today's kickoff sites are featured on the Civic Season website, along with hundreds of other institutions celebrating Civic Season now through July 4th. I mean, hundreds, y'all. Just go on the website. There's a plethora to pick from. And now it's almost time to honor the individuals and organizations who truly amplify civic engagement with the Civi Awards. So join us back on the main stage in Commercial Row at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for this very special presentation of honors.
For one of our last events of this kickoff party, it is our honor and privilege to welcome the Bridge Alliance as they present the 2022 American Civic Collaboration Awards, or the Civies for short.
Now, the Civies are an annual award ceremony that recognizes organizations and initiatives who use the power of collaboration to strengthen communities, heal partisan divides, and invigorate American democracy.
You will hear amazing stories of civic success, as well as a touching tribute to Rob Stein, who passed away in early May. Rob was an inspiring leader who devoted his life to helping Americans take back their power.
Now, without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Sashi Bajaj, a rising sophomore at USC and an intern for the Bridge Alliance. Sashi took on the enormous task of organizing this year's Civies, and today's ceremony would not have happened without her. Please give a round of applause for Sashi.
When I started my Bridge Alliance internship earlier this year, I was asked if I wanted to help bring back the Civies, which had been awarded annually from 2017 through 2020. I jumped at the opportunity, and it brings me tremendous pride and pleasure to present the 5th American Civic Collaboration Awards. The American Civic Collaboration Awards, or the Civies, celebrate exemplary cases of civic-oriented work that elevate democracy at every level of American life through collaboration. By working together across divides, geographies, industries, and circumstances, these organizations provide a blueprint for the rest of the nation as they problem solve how to make our differences work for us, not against us. Every day, headlines show polarizing politics, with leaders struggling to make progress on even the most basic challenges. But today's finalists and winners show that progress is possible, and we can succeed by working together. We had a record-breaking number of nominations this year, and their inspiring stories show that our movement, your movement, is gaining momentum, and that more and more Americans are getting involved. They also show that we, the American people, have the power and determination to take our power back. We are also excited to announce that for the first time ever, we will be awarding a Civi for lifetime achievement. The need for this award became apparent when our good friend Rob Stein passed away earlier this year. Mr. Stein's leadership and passion for democracy was truly remarkable, and we are excited and humbled to highlight his contributions today. However, before we honor Mr. Stein and announce the other finalists and winners, we want to thank our nominators who let us know about these great projects and took the time to describe their work and write compelling nominations. And remember, you too can be a nominator next year. Finally, we would like to thank our judges on the review committee who volunteered their invaluable time and expertise to evaluate these fantastic nominees. The judges had to grade each project across 4 categories, including collaboration, impact, scalability, and inclusion. And they had tough decisions to make. So thank you to our incredible judges, including David L. Nevins, Neil Simon, Liz Joyner, and Rochelle Colburn for the national category, Anafi Wahed, Ross Irwin, and Maria Yuan for the local category, and Amy Farrell, Lita Azim, Alzetta Wilson, and Jaren Chang for the youth category. Okay, now what you've been all waiting for. It is my honor and privilege to announce this year's national category winner. In the national category, we had 5 finalists: Latinx House, Sensible School Incorporated, Vote America, allvotennoplay.org Civic Playbook, and the American Democracy Project. Thank you to all our national finalists for their amazing work. With that being said, this year's winner of the American Civic Collaboration Award for the national category is Vote America. Vote America builds technology to simplify political engagement, increase voter turnout, and strengthen American democracy for eligible voters. Every election, political campaign, and voter turnout groups spend tens of millions of dollars attempting to register individual voters using antiquated one-to-one outreach tactics that are expensive, difficult to scale, and inconsistent. Vote America instead focuses on scaling innovative, modern, one-to-millions voter outreach solutions by integrating their tools with the major software and service companies citizens already use to file everyday paperwork. Whenever someone checks their credit score, files their taxes, changes their home address, or registers for classes, vital information about voter registration, vote by mail, early voting, voter ID, and more can be built directly into the platform's user experience. In 2020 alone, Vote America registered more than 1 million voters through their strategic partnership integrations. Additionally, more than 4 million users made use of Vote America tools to check their voter registration status, register to vote, request an absentee or mail ballot, track their ballot after completing and mailing, look up their polling place, and or find contact info for their local election office. Also, by building voter registration into everyday systems, Vote America reached underserved and often overlooked minority communities so that our elected officials more fully and accurately represent the voice of the American people. In its very first year, Vote America was found to be one of the top 10 voter registration and turnout organizations in the nation. They have also proven that their strategies are some of the most cost-effective per voter in the nation, and they're only getting started. Here's a message from the national winning Vote America team.
Hi, I'm Kelly. And I'm Lori. And on behalf of the team at Vote America, we'd like to thank the Civies for this incredible recognition of our work. Vote America is a nonprofit organization. We're building technology to help turn out millions of voters. It's our mission to provide citizens with trusted information, open source technology, and robust education programs to expand the electorate, increase turnout, and strengthen US democracy. During the 2020 election cycle, we engaged over 30 million voters via data-driven, research-backed mobilization campaigns. Last year, we focused on protecting the right to vote by launching several lawsuits against the more than 440 legislative bills introduced in 2021 restricting access to the polls. In fact, we recently won our lawsuit in Kansas and are actively testifying in Georgia this month.
We continually pursue strategic, innovative partnerships which exponentially increase our impact. This year and beyond, we hope to engage and empower every single American voter on a scale of 1 to millions. Thanks again to the Civies. It's truly an honor.
I would now like to pass the microphone to Bridge Alliance's Chief of Staff, Jeremy Garson. Jeremy has served as a mentor to me throughout the process of bringing back the Civies, and it gives me great pleasure to share the stage with him tonight. He will announce the remaining finalists and winners.
Now, before you go, Sakshi, because I know you have to catch a flight, I really want to thank you. We are so lucky to have you on the Bridge Alliance team. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking on this enormous project as just a college freshman and making all of this happen. It has been an absolute delight to work with you. With that said, next up is the local category where we had 6 finalists. Uniting for Action on the Maryland Economy, Gen Unity, Voters First Virginia, Learning Life, Environmental Justice Coalition, and NC Leadership Forum at Duke University. Thank you to all of our local finalists for their amazing work. This year's winner of the American Civic Collaboration Awards for the local category is Voters First Virginia. Voters First Virginia led and supported coalitions that helped, 1, pass a constitutional amendment and ballot referendum in Virginia, creating the first citizen-led bipartisan redistricting commission in the Commonwealth. 2, created a local ranked choice voting pilot. 3, instituted various absentee voting improvements. And 4, increased access to and participation in party nominating processes. Incredibly, all of this was accomplished with bipartisan support. It's weird to see myself up on the screen. They also helped build a bicameral and bipartisan caucus where members meet on a regular basis to find common ground. Through its efforts, Voters First Virginia has helped build a more representative and functional government in Virginia that puts voters first, and where leaders embrace problem solving over fueling divisiveness. They are also dedicated to building a team that reflects diverse identities, experiences, and perspectives. A culture of working across differences toward common goals, and a workplace where everyone feels included, respected, and heard. Because of their incredible success, the Voters First Virginia model is now being replicated in Colorado and Arizona. And here's a message from the Voters First Virginia team.
Good evening, Matt Scoville with Voters First Virginia. I wish I could be there this evening to celebrate with you in beautiful Atlanta, because community, collaboration, especially democracy, need to be celebrated every chance we get. Voters First Virginia is part of a growing pro-voter movement. The people behind it span diverse backgrounds and ideologies, and who have come together in a collaborative spirit with a shared North Star to pass and implement electoral reforms that put voters first, and to foster a more representative and functional government. Our Voters First program does this by building long-term in-state engagement, building strong coalitions across partisan lines, streamlining advocacy campaigns with our partners, and enhancing collective impact. We are honored to have been considered alongside the other organizations tonight, let alone receive the 2022 Local Civic Award for our efforts in Virginia. This could not have been possible without our friends and partners. We thank the Bridge Alliance, the Review Committee, our Voters First Virginia team, and our national, state, and local partners. To all the individuals and organizations who work on these important issues that are here tonight and those across the country, keep up the good work. You are making a real difference. Thank you. On behalf of the Voters First Project and Voters First Virginia, I thank you. Have a great evening.
Great message, great organization. Oh, there we go. Finally, our youth category celebrates efforts for and by young people, the future of our nation. The 5 finalists were Sertel Incorporated, Kids Voting Durham, Green Our Planet's Farmpreneur Program, America Public Square at Jewel Civics Education Initiative, and Kentucky YMCA Youth Association. Thank you to all of our youth finalists for their amazing work. With that being said, this year's winner of the American Civic Collaboration Award for the youth category is Kentucky YMCA Youth Association. The Kentucky YMCA Youth Association operates over 35 programs around the state of Kentucky aimed at engaging teenagers in their local communities to become true change makers. Their impact incredibly reaches 111 of the 120 counties in Kentucky, and every year they engage over 10,000 students and their teachers. The root of their work is based in their student-wide program, through which members achieve a greater understanding of public service and policy, build relationships through service with peers, educators, mentors, and service partners, and develop a culture of belonging in their schools, communities, and throughout the Commonwealth of Kentucky. This program sets the standard for what the rest of the organization stands for, providing a space where collaboration among peers and their community members can take place to improve Kentucky communities. Importantly, the Kentucky YMCA Youth Association has also fostered a community of inclusion. There are 4 all commitment states in part. We know that the key to effectively empowering young people to reach their full potential, improving individual and community well-being, and inspiring action in our communities is a passionate, experienced, and diverse array of staff, volunteers, and members who value what everyone brings to the table. Finally, the Kentucky YMCA Youth Association gives out thousands of dollars in scholarships each year to ensure that everybody, regardless of financial means, can attend their programming. And here's a message from the Kentucky YMCA Youth Association.
Hello, I'm Beth Malcolm, President and CEO of the Kentucky YMCA Youth Association. And although I cannot be with you today in person to celebrate, I'm honored to accept this award on behalf of our organization. The youth are not our future, they're our now. And that is why, as a society, we must turn our attention to uplifting youth and the engagement at all levels of our community and political system. That is why the Kentucky YMCA accepts this award not only as a recognition of the work that we have done, but also as a challenge to double our efforts in collaborating with Kentucky's youth to increase voter registration, voter engagement and turnout, advocacy work, and work towards equity in their communities. Thank you to our community of peers who do this work alongside us, and to the Civic team for recognizing our efforts in this area. Have a wonderful evening.
I have all these prompts to ask you guys for a round of applause, and you guys have just been on top of it, so I really appreciate that. And now, the Lifetime Achievement Award. Our final winner is someone who dedicated their life to empowering Americans and helping we the people achieve our full potential. The Lifetime Achievement Award achievement category, which was created specifically to recognize his numerous contributions, goes to the late Rob Stein. Rob Stein was a true hero of the movement. In the words of a friend, Rob was a visionary, healer, and unapologetic uniter of unlikely allies in an era defined by cowardice, despair, and division. To properly capture what he meant to his friends and colleagues, we asked the Bridge Alliance's CEO, Debbie Lynn, to say a few words, and she was joined by Rob's wife, Ellen Perry.
We stopped to recognize a great man who was known to many as the Yoda of democracy. This affectionate moniker relates to his wisdom, his love of democracy, and his unstoppable love for our nation and those seeking to improve it. A mutual friend noted, Rob is the embodiment of love. We lost Rob Stein on May 2nd, 2022 to cancer. Quoting from his obituary in the New York Times, after a varied career in which he worked as a public interest lawyer and a top advisor to the Democratic Party and the Clinton administration, and created nonprofit groups and a venture capital fund, Mr. Stein found his true calling in the wake of the 2002 elections. It just changed the way people thought about philanthropy, end quote. Rob Stein became a revolutionary who evolved, constantly seeking to help our nation become a more perfect union, to help our people become better at perfecting our union. And in 2005, he co-founded the Democracy Alliance to fundamentally change the way progressive campaigns were funded. A decade or so later, he drafted, adopted, and promoted a cross-partisan creed that placed our country first, before all of our party politics. Rob would collaborate with anyone who lived up to these ideals. The creed is simple: to be avid champions and tireless practitioners of constructive dialogue, deliberation, and problem solving, with diverse people across cultural, racial, ethnic, political, and gender divides, in order to collectively perfect our union by optimizing liberty, justice, and opportunity for all. Rob has consulted and contributed to hundreds of organizations, positively impacting our work to strengthen democracy. It is our honor to recognize Rob Stein with the Lifetime Achievement Award for the 2022 Civics. And accepting on Rob's behalf is his wife, Ellen Perry.
Thank you so much for this honor. I am thrilled to accept it on Rob's behalf. He was an enormous advocate for the work of Bridge Alliance. He felt that you were the best example of what our democracy needs right now: bridge building, teaching, learning, thinking, working together to bridge these divides. And so I'm so pleased, as our whole family, to accept this on his behalf. Thank you.
On behalf of the Bridge Alliance, thank you again to all of our nominators, judges, finalists, and winners, without whom none of this would have been possible. And thank you to all of you for celebrating with us today.
Run for office. If we're not going to run for office, then we need to vote for the people that we want to represent us. That's how we need to show up. So make sure that you guys tap in with New Georgia Project. It is Civic season, hence the name of the event, right? And upcoming, we have a runoff, which is going to be June 21st. We are voting for individuals who want to represent us and advocate for the things that we are passionate about. So I definitely want to encourage everyone to get up, research some of these candidates, and also be prepared for November, because November is right around the corner. And we definitely want to make sure that we get the right people in office who are going to, one, listen to how we feel, our perspective, what matters to us, and then two, carry out those policies or those issue items that we care about. New Georgia Project, we're big on volunteering and engaging with people in the community. We are outside, right? Everybody says that they're outside, they're at the club, they're at the bar. New Georgia Project is in the streets knocking on doors. We are doing phone banks, text banks. We do actions. We love to pull up at events like this because this is where young people are. This is where we thrive in spaces like this, right? So if anybody is interested in joining New Georgia Project, come to our table. We have 2 tables on the side, but also follow us on social media. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. TikTok is on the way, right? But yeah, make sure that you guys pay attention to what's going on because it is so crucial. Again, we need more young people in these spaces. We need to be in the room. And now is the time that if you aren't doing anything right now, then it's time to step up and make sure that you're a part of the movement. Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.
Maggie, you know what you said? You said, you know, we want to know where we at. We outside. Thank you so much, Maggie, for sharing how we can be involved right here in Atlanta. And if you haven't had a chance, please check out the New Georgia's Project table over there. Yes. Tori, this has been such an incredible day, kicking off the start of the Civic season. From our Feast of Reason panel to taking selfies at the photo lounge and seeing everyone fill out their posters. It truly was a special day to kick off the season.
You read my mind. I am actually kind of sad to see the day end. I've been having so much fun.
Me too. But just because the day is ending doesn't mean that there isn't so much more to enjoy. This is kickoff season after all.
Right? We're kicking things off. So this is only the beginning. There are so many ways to be a part of Civic Season 2022. Make sure to check out thecivicseason.com to learn about upcoming events and resources across the country that you can engage in, as well as make sure to follow us on the socials at History Made by Us to keep up with all things Civic Season.
Yes, share your posters on socials, have your friends fill theirs out on the website. Find a local event in your area. Look up a book recommendation to enjoy the next few days, the next 2 weeks. Join a local civil organization. The things are just limitless. We are here. Do that. Yes.
There's something for everyone. Like she said, the possibilities are endless. Right now, we want to thank everyone for joining us today, everyone here in Atlanta, everyone on the live stream. Also, thank you to all of our volunteers, all of our fearless leaders, Nia, Claire, Cameron, Caroline. None of this would have been possible without all of you guys. Guys have no idea the work that has been put into this. You can find us on social. My social is at Tori Yates, or that's on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok.
And I'm at DJ Crystal Lake, Crystal with a K. And yeah, you can find me on TikTok and Instagram.
Everywhere. Guys, happy Civic Season. Make sure you're out there. Make sure you're sharing Civic Season with everyone you know and get involved, and let's save democracy together. Okay?
Let's do it.